We're jumping in here with some clan tech, and before we start exploring some of the individual mechs, we're going to look at the overall shift, the overall strategy playing clan tech, utilizing clan tech versus Inner Sphere. And what's interesting to me right now about the Battletech narrative, about the Battletech community, has been this dual release of not only new plastics, the catalyst, the new models, but also with 3D printing, there are a lot of players that exclusively played Inner Sphere for a long time, because Battletech as a game has been very, very unique in that there are multiple timelines. Unlike other war games, which are literally frozen at a point in time. Let's look at historicals. I played Chain of Command, World War II. We're looking at specific World War II battles to reenact, answer the question, what if? If we look at something like Warhammer 40,000, a sci-fi miniature game, it's been frozen at this point in time forever, only until very recently. But Battletech is unique in that the history has literally been evolving over the years. And you can jump around, you can explore different timelines, different histories. Naturally, you're going to have your preference for whatever reason, but the bulk of Battletech being Inner Sphere Succession era, then moving into the clans, you kind of had this divide, not in a negative way, but this divide of, well, a lot of us just play Inner Sphere. We've got some clan stuff, but that's our primary focus. Well, now with new players coming on and both model ranges readily available or soon to be available depending on shipping and supply, I've seen players that are like, fabulous, absolutely, I love the clans, I'm jumping in. And that has created a catalyst to move forward, bringing classic Inner Sphere players up into the game. So from that perspective, understanding the primary differences, and as a clan player, this is what you're going to look to leverage. This is what you're going to look to utilize. Fast. You got to do it fast. Clans are not auto win. I find the clans are very, very binary, win or lose, with a very, very unique time frame, tabletop time frame. And if you're coming from the perspective of Inner Sphere, this is what you should expect. So we're going to build that Tactica checklist, and then we're going to jumping down to the individual clan mechs and clan tech. So the first thing, of course, is battle value. Lots of ways to play Battletech, and we explored some of this narrative in a podcast vlog a couple of weeks back, pushed that up to the Battletech channel on my playlist here. But this idea, I think for most of us, is battle value. Fritz, what do you feel like playing? Okay, let's do 8K. Let's do 8K battle value, buy-in. And then maybe we agree mechs only, combined arms, infantry, maybe artillery. And we show up to the game with various forces. These forces are different, but they add up to the battle value. When you look at battle value, clan mechs are expensive. Even the light mechs, you're like, whoa, tremendously different battle value. What that represents is the fact that this tech is massive. I mean, a good analogy in my mind isn't so much like a World War I plane versus a modern, current era, whatever generation plane that we are now. It's more like World War I tech versus Wonder Weapons World War II tech. Just that's the massive, massive difference. But much like the tech of World War II, it's a numbers game. So the first thing you realize is the clan mechs are vastly overpowered. They are vastly superior. Well, that makes sense in the narrative, but there's not a lot on the table because that battle value buy-in to buy it out, to stack it up, is huge. It's really, really big. So if you are playing the clans, you're going to be outnumbered with Inner Sphere mechs. If they're playing combined arms, you are really going to be outnumbered. Now, clans also kind of have combined arms. I mean, there are tanks. There are some tanks utilized by the clans. There are some infantry, but they're not used as much. Most of the clan, quote, combined arms are battle armor. And that's absolutely, you want to get into battle armor too. You jump into the clans and you're like, these mechs are fun. Battle armor is a load of fun. So you want to play that. And likewise, Inner Sphere, as the tech advances, that timeline, take advantage of it. There's some Inner Sphere battle armor. It just takes Battletech in, look, it's always fun to have more toys. It just takes it in a very, very fun direction. But so clans do have combined arms, just that image that vision is a little bit different. But I'm going in with your clan mechs. I've got my inner sphere mechs. I've got my tanks. You're looking at this and you're saying, wow, that is a lot of stuff. Now, generally speaking, for the clans, and this is where we're going to get into the timing, why it's important, light, medium, heavy, assault. Across that entire spectrum, generally speaking, clan mechs are faster. They outrange the target, and they cause more damage with less heat. Now, certain things, you're playing the Warhawk, you're playing other things, multiple 4 PPCs, targeting computers, things like that. You're firing all 4 a turn, you're going to quickly overheat, even with the double heat sinks. But from that perspective, you have to realize the clan tech, it has longer range. It does more damage. The first couple of games when I was jumping back into the clans, Jade Falcon, all the way, absolutely. Leading that invasion, restoring order to the Desgra inner sphere. When I started playing clans again, I had completely forgotten the difference in ranges. For a while, years, I was playing just exclusively inner sphere, and my buddy's like, let's jump into the clans. And I'm like, do we want to do this? I'm just warning you. If we open this up, I've got a ton of Jade Falcon stuff, and I'm going to start stacking more. Like, do we want to go down this path? So let's do it. So the first couple of games we're playing, I'm firing my PPCs, and I realize, I'm using old range and old damage and old heat, because just that's where the mode of my mind was in. And as soon as I realized, okay, next game I got to actually use the weapon stats, you're like, this is insane. So the clan mechs, what this means, if you're playing inner sphere, you've got to be hyper aggressive. You cannot be conservative. That doesn't mean reckless, but you really can't even stand there and just LRM range, and you can't stand off. You need to absolutely close. You need to get up there. You need to be committed to that, because the clan tech, the clan mechs, every turn, it's like they're inflicting double losses. They're inflicting double damage on you. The first feeling is like, this is completely bogus. This is so out of whack, so out of balance. You playing 2 stars, you're losing a mech a turn, or a mech, you're losing a mech a turn, and maybe another mech being extremely crippled, disabled, legs blown off. You're losing a couple of vehicles a turn. It's crazy. You're like, this is insane. How did the inner sphere ever repel the clans from that perspective? Narrative versus rules. But this is where the advantage shifts. Initiative is key in Battletech. Initiative is key. I move, you move, I move. Eventually, as the numbers stack, you're going to move all your toys, and I'm going to have a bunch of my toys to move, which is going to give me a vastly superior position. And that position is going to increase the more that you lose. As the clans take losses, they're already at less numbers. They're already absolutely at less numbers. If you can get up there with multiple targets and overwhelm them, it's still Battletech. There's still crits. There's still engine damage. There's still wacky stuff falling down. There's still hand-to-hand combat getting up there. They're machines, but they are machines. So you need to be aggressive inflicting the losses on the clans, and this is where the tech of the clans is now countered with the numeric superiority of the inner sphere. But if I just have a lance and I'm like, okay, the lance is going to hang back and I'm going to send up my mech to just kind of skirmish, the clans are going to cut you down. Everything needs to be working as a team. Now, the other balance, this is kind of the question there. So inner sphere, you've got the numbers. Every turn you're getting less and less. You need to overwhelm the clans and really, really gang up and take it to them. Reduce their numbers. The counter to that is this idea of clan honor, true warriors. Looking at it from the perspective of they are optional rules, but it's kind of intended to play this way. But like Battletech, you have a choice if you want to do it. And I've played it both ways. I would encourage playing with the honor rules, playing with the clan rules, because it's in the narrative and it's kind of fun from that perspective. Clans are about honor. So you issue a challenge to a mech. You issue a challenge to a mech warrior. You engage that challenge. You now can't engage any other targets. Now, there are ways in the game, if you believe as a clan mech warrior, they broke honor or their Desgra or things like this, you could say I'm breaking it. But generally speaking, on the tabletop, the target you shoot at, you're engaged. Because to do otherwise, once you've announced your lineage and you've engaged that target, to break clan honor and do that, it's antithesis to your way of life. You can't do that. Playing that levels the field tremendously. Because now what this means, like if I'm moving up with 2 mechs, I'm moving up with, say, the Hunchback and the Warhammer. Classic mechs, I love playing. I'm moving up. The clan mech is going to issue a challenge to that Warhammer because that's could be debatable. That's the greater target. Or maybe that's the command mech, right? That's command mech in the Lance. Accepting that challenge, or if it fires, it's even if the mech, the Inner Sphere mech warrior is not honorable, as soon as that clan mech fires at that Warhammer, that challenge has been issued. They're going to ignore the Hunchback. Like if I'm really playing that clans, I'm going to ignore that Hunchback. Inner Sphere, I'm going to get that Hunchback up there and try to side or rear you. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to let it. I'm going to try and, as I fight that Warhammer, I'm going to try and position myself so you can't get to me with that Hunchback. But that also accounts for the rules. And in playing that, I made a mistake, again, jumping back to clans early on. Playing Jade Falcon, my friend's got this spider, his little Spider-Man mech, literally Spider-Man mech, running up there. And I'm like, yeah, you're going to just look to zap me from get rear armor on some of my mediums and stuff. I'm just going to blast that mech right off the map. Even though it's got range, it's got movement, it's got distance, I've got the clan tech. So my Thor just fires at it. I miss, and I'm like, all right, I'll engage next turn. And then I'm like, I just fired on a light mech. One of my workhorse's mech for the star, I just fired on a light mech. This mech is now going to run away and run all over the place. It would be Desgra for me to not continue firing on that mech. I can't break that rule. So I'm trying, and maybe if the light mech had resulted to physical attacks, that's breaking kind of clan honor. Maybe I could kind of say I broke it, but I'm like, no. And so now I got to spend the rest of the game running after this spider and the Inner Sphere player. My friend, he's running around. I literally couldn't track the thing down the entire game. I mean, my mech's fast, but not that fast. Although I did do some damage with some shots. But that's an example where things equal out. And that's where things balance out internally, where you have to look and say, what am I issuing in terms of challenges? What am I accepting? And as an Inner Sphere mech player, moving it from that perspective. So I encourage you to play with that. Now, you can look at some of the later battles as they moved into the Inner Sphere. Sometimes it was like there's no challenges issued at all. I mean, it makes House Kurita look like just absolutely stellar, in terms of war crimes and things like that. So certainly you could say, like, look, this whole planet is beyond redemption. There is no honor, and we're just going to go in and blow everything up. I mean, that has happened in the lore. So you can absolutely play it from that perspective. But I would encourage you to use the clan rules and the clan honor rules, building that checklist, exploring it. Okay, now we're going to jump into some of my favorite mechs, clan mechs. Then we're going to get to some of your favorite clan mechs. We're going to bring it together, and we're going to circle then back around to some counters to those mechs or some good Inner Sphere mechs to counter those.